Hello, everybody, and welcome to another SIG Windows meeting. It's the 16th of June. As always, this is a recorded invite, so please adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct. Thank you all for attending. So a few topics today on our agenda. Let's dive right in. Is Nilesh online? So Nilesh is based in Australia, and it is either 2:30 a.m. there or 3:30 a.m. So I'm not sure if he's gonna if he was able to stay awake or wake up early enough. But one of the topics that Nilesh wanted to talk about was this SIG auth discussion, and there was a recommended policy profiles for security pods. Think of this as basically trying to augment the pod security policies and add a little bit more definition around this. And they were looking to see how this would impact Windows, what would it look like for Windows, and have a discussion on that. Let's wait and see if Nilesh joins us later. Craig, you want to talk about the cherry picks that were not approved? I guess SIG-Node gave us another situation where things just stay stale for a while.
Well, I don't have a solution. I just wanted to bring it up and see if as a group we could come to some strategies for how we can better collaborate with SIG-Node to get, what are frankly small things reviewed and changed. So for anybody who doesn't know the background, there are basically some cherry picks PRs that I added to the notes that get small fixes into various patch releases, and they had a long time to review them. They didn't get reviewed, they didn't get approved and merged, and that's causing pain for our users because these are the changes that improve the performance for metrics, and that's obviously something that impacts our users significantly. One thing that I have been thinking about is whether or not there's a way, if you attend the SIG-Node meetings, they tend to be very long and kind of drawn out. I'm just wondering if there's a better strategy for getting the attention of folks there, tagging on the GitHub repo, doing Slack notifications. None of those things seem to be effective.
I completely agree with you. We've escalated the matter before to the SIG contributor X, and I wrote them another note right now. Frankly, it's unacceptable. I believe I pinged multiple times on each one of these, and I sent Dawn and Slack messages as well. Like I don't know what, attending SIG-Node meeting, Patrick has done that in the past, that didn't help either. So I actually have a conflict at that time, so I can't attend. But yeah, so we commented 7 days ago, 6 days ago, 5 days ago. I had, Fisker had also commented 13 days ago. They've had more than 3 or 4 notifications on this. Oh, and Mark also commented on May 14th. So going back a month, we had 4 or 5 notifications. We're asking SIG-Node to do something about it, and it hasn't worked. So I think time is right now to lodge an official complaint about this.
Yeah, I think it's time. That's sort of why I raised it. And I'm happy to contribute in whatever way I can to that discussion.
Okay.
I wish I was coming with a solution. Sorry.
Say that again, Craig.
I'm just sad that I'm not coming with a solution, coming with a problem.
The way Kubernetes was segmented was that every SIG has a little bit of authority to basically do what's right for our users and our customers, right? And it looks like things didn't work the way they were intended to here, so we need to figure out the solution. This is not the first time either, so this is I went to SIG Contributor X and made a complaint now. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I'll,
And Michael, it's just not, by the way, FYI, this is not just about the PRs. I mean, even if there is a proposal or something, there is something we propose from Windows containers. It's the list pod and containers have some limitations. It's been more than 3 months and nobody's even looked at it. Like if you create an issue or anything. So basically, yeah, I mean, when you're talking, I mean, let me know if I can help as well. But basically, what we're asking for is if there is a better way of doing it, we're happy to follow a process, right? Like if they have a process.
we've talked about it with them. There is no such thing. So we've looked for it, by the way. But my thinking is, at the very least, what needs to happen is that Signal needs to come to us. Hey, say we're really busy. We'll put this on our to-do list. We'll get to it in a week or in a day or in a month. Like, at least have a conversation. When there is an absence of complete conversation, is really where it's hurting us. So I take this seriously, and let me see what we'll do about this. I am not gonna let go now. So, okay. I can't promise you we can fix it, but we'll make enough noise. Maybe now nothing will go through Signode. So could backfire. So just letting you guys know. Now, and seriously, there's no joking around. Like, when customers are impacted, this is problematic. And
Yes.
and I just got a ping right now, but my ping is for something else. Harbor just graduated in CNCF, I think. I don't know if you guys know. I'm the lead maintainer for Harbor,
Congrats.
so I think it looks like it's gonna become the 11th project. Like all of a sudden, my Slack lit up like crazy, and it was a Microsoft vote. Michelle Nurali. Thank you to Michelle. Craig, I don't know if you know her in person too.
Oh yeah, she's on our team.
Cool. All right. So anything else on this topic?
No, but I see David Schott has joined. I think he has some update for IPv6. I don't know, David, if you want to share something.
Yeah. I didn't know if he meant this topic, like
Okay.
Signode issues, or before we move on to the next.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like there's anything else. We've exhausted this. We know that something needs to happen. So we'll try to see what you can do with C Contributor X. I'll start there, and we'll move on from there. So Jing had an issue above you, David, but since you started talking, let's cover the IPv6 stuff.
Okay, if that's okay with Jing. Sorry, Jing. I'll try to keep it short. So yeah, I just wanted to share some exciting news. We had a PR for dual stack IP support that got merged last Friday. Let me post it in chat as well so people can take a look.
So dual stack IP support. So essentially, this allows you to choose either IPv6 or IPv4 for networking, correct?
Yeah, actually both. So like it's very similar to the Linux implementation.
Okay.
So such that, for example, a single pod can have 2 IP addresses assigned, one from the IPv4 family and another one from the IPv6, so it can communicate on one or the other. And the same goes for nodes. So it's pretty much parity with Linux from the way that I see it.
If I remember correctly, you can in Linux you cannot have a full IPv6 environment, right? That's not possible. Is that the same thing for Windows?
You can't. I thought you could.
So you can.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the docs right now because
Yeah, pure IPv6 is not supported as far as I know.
yeah. So like that's what I remember. Like if that has changed, I wanted to know about it. But I think you still
okay.
have IPv4. So
Okay.
that's why it was always called dual stack, right?
Correct. So that's why we use the word pure IPv6. I don't know what is the industry word, but Windows also we don't support pure IPv6 yet.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that.
So is this a PR behind the feature gate, the IPv6 dual stack feature gate, or is this straight up in? Okay.
Yes. So this it can be enabled, using the same feature gate and flags that Linux already implements. So the IPv6 dual stack feature gate that you just mentioned. And the changes were also tested together with the Azure CNI plugin. But we hope to follow up with IPv6 support soon to some of the other Windows CNI reference plugins. That being said, there's still two limitations or gotchas I should also highlight. So on IPv4 today, Kubernetes and Windows pods in general support L2 bridge and overlay networking modes. But right now, IPv6 support has only been added to L2 bridge, which is something that we will document. And depending on user feedback, support for IPv6 overlay could be added to a later Windows release as well. And the second limitation is on the supported Windows OS, since this is a new feature. And right now, it is only available on pre-release insider builds, specifically on build 19603 and above. But the platform piece is will also be backported and enabled on Windows Server 2004 using a cumulative update that is scheduled to come out in August, assuming there are no unexpected hiccups or testing doesn't go smoothly or something like that. So that's the two limitations that we'll also be documenting. Does anyone have questions on this?
David, when you say 2004, you mean 2004? No.
2004, sorry, yeah. 2004.
So David, you made some updates to the docs the other day as well, and I don't know if you saw my comment that you create a little matrix with networking impact to different versions of the OS, and I mentioned that 2004 is not supported by Kubernetes yet, right? So we haven't added support for this. So I'm thinking, and maybe when Mark is here next week, we can revisit the. I know we talked, we'll support LTS plus the latest two SACs. Now we see a lot of things that your team has put in 2004, right, from a networking standpoint. So maybe there's a need here to accelerate 2004 so that in 119 we have this in, so like it kind of balances things out. I think that's a good goal to have, right, Craig and David?
It would be ideal if we can get all the validation that we need to get done in time.
Yeah. I actually wanted to bring that up, actually, just out of curiosity, Michael. I think Mark created an issue where he wanted like input from rest of the community. We decided on LTSC plus the latest 2 SEC, right?
Yeah.
But were there any next steps?
Yeah, no, I mean that I think we discussed it maybe like almost maybe a month out now. So we agreed that was it, right? Two SACs, 2 SACs, and 1 LTS was our agreement. But we haven't started executing on it, right? So now we need to actually execute and say 2004 needs to be supported, so we can actually get these changes in for the networking that David and team have been doing, and make sure that's coming in, and then figure out how to move on from there.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. So if Mark is back, let's talk about it, because I also want to kind of come up with like a strategy on the next SAC comes out. Like we should have like a timeline. Like it takes us a month to get it started, and this is how long it takes to get it in the testing suite.
From a 2004 perspective, I know that Claude has just opened a PR to add support for the pause image, so I think that's at least in progress.
Nice.
He's on the call.
Yeah, that and all of the image promoter work will make it much faster to add the support for new SACs when all that's done.
Yeah. So what's the plan from a Microsoft standpoint for some of these changes to make it all back to the LTS? Is that the goal, or like it's not going to happen?
It depends on the change. In this case, for IPv6, it's probably not going to be backported to LTSC.
Okay.
Talking with the responsible teams, the changes are just so substantial that
Okay.
To quote them, that it's basically changing the DNA of HNS. and bringing it back to even 1903, it would be a huge amount of work.
Okay, so 2004 on your only, got it.
For IPv6, but
Yeah.
for DSR, we are bringing that to Windows Server.
Yeah, I saw the
29.
change on DSR. Yeah.
So I just want to stand corrected. I think the KEP has been modified, and David is correct. I think Linux supports IPv6 only clusters as well. I just pasted the
Yes.
KEP. Sorry about that. I think, David, we need to document it correctly. Windows is the only one that doesn't support that.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Dinesh. I can do that.
We will always be in this catch-up mode, I think. Then I saw the KEP, it was not. I think they modified it.
Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about the next issue, Jing, since we have about 10 minutes left.
Yes. So could you open that PR like I listed?
Yeah, sure.
On the...
Yeah, let me share my screen really quickly.
Mm.
You guys should be able to see my screen. It's remove driver letter during format and mount because of subpath eval.
Right. So if you click that 166 PR, right, that's the where like during after the disk is attached to the node, and in the, could you also open the file changed? We use PowerShell commands, right, to initialize and format the disk. Before, in tree driver, we use assign driver letter, so that for that volume, right after it's formatted, you have driver letter for that volume, and then we we create symlink from the driver letter to a volume like under the pod directory. And because driver letter cause problems, like you might run out of the driver letters, so we want to remove that. And now the volume, use volume IMD to create symlink. You know, that string, you can have a volume ID with that backslash like volume IP to directory. But this way, if you use subpath feature, so during creating the subpath, we use Go library like evaluate symlink to each of the pod volume directory. And after this change, the evaluate symlink function from Go will always return error like too many links. So basically that evaluate symlink function no longer work if you don't have a driver letter assigned to a volume. So I want to ask, like, here, anybody have idea, like if we have some other equivalent to like a functional command we can use. So the reason we want to evaluate symlink is for subpath, we want to avoid user create a symlink that outside of the volume to a different place. So for Linux, we use bimount. So the evaluate symlink actually, if you don't create symlink, right, it will evaluate to the directory itself. But here we don't use mount, we use create symlink. And during evaluate symlink for subpath, this will fail. Am I explaining clear?
So just in a nutshell, Jing, the ask is like, can we, like, is anyone aware of ways to evaluate symlink while using volume grids rather than drive letters?
So
that's where
I've
we're kind of stuck. Yeah.
done it. I've mounted with volume GUID paths in the past, but I've not done subpaths in the volume GUID. I do know that there are issues with some Windows code if you mix the slashes when you use volume GUID paths. I actually have a PR that was approved in the client Go library to always use the correct slashing when using volume GUID paths.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an implementation of the language, right? So if you're using like C# or something like that, Windows is a little bit more native to Windows. This works very well, whether you're using the volume GUIDs or symlinks or anything else. But so the problem we're trying to solve, Jing, is that you don't want anybody to create a symbolic link that points to outside of your volume. Is that correct?
Yes, the reason we evaluate symlink, yeah. That code was like added when we discover a security issue for symlink for subpath. So we always have code to evaluate symlink if you use subpath. But without the drive letter assigned to that volume, the evaluation link will fail.
So without which code it will fail? I'm sorry, I don't.
So see, in line 233, there's the assigned drive letter that was removed.
Okay. So without this, it will fail.
Exactly. So we decided not to assign drive letters anymore because that's better, right? Like we don't have that limitation.
You run out of drive letters, yeah.
Exactly. So let's not have that artificial limit. But I think after the removal, what Jing found is that the subpath security check around symlink evaluation, that begins to fail because for Windows, the Golang symlink evaluation library function does not work in that expected way, right?
So
it works fine with drive letters.
Can I ask you a question? How often is this code called?
So for all subpath mounts.
I know, but it's only called once during the mount? Or does it get called? Okay, so how about we assign a temporary drive letter to the link before you make the check and then you remove it?
Oh. That's a good point.
Because if it doesn't get called often, you could always assign the drive letter to the mount and then do your check, make sure it works, and then remove it.
Yeah, that's.
So you mean assign drive letter here or later?
Or wherever you do the check that was failing.
It's if you go back to my issue, I have a link here, the subpath, yeah.
This one here?
It's here, yeah.
Okay, so before you evaluate the symlinks, if you're on Windows, you can assign a drive letter to the path, evaluate it, and then remove the drive letter. If the only way that this works is if it has a path, then we can do that because I guess it doesn't work with symbolic links here, right? Or volume mount links. So you could always assign it and remove it. So we have two options. Either we fix this call, this API in Go, and make Go better. And that should be the right solution. But in the meantime, we could assign a drive letter to the evaluation and then remove it.
But here we don't have that volume ID, right? How we assign drive letter to that volume.
I think, Jing, that should be doable because given the volume GUID, we can use some, PowerShell or some other mechanism to figure out what the volume is.
Okay.
And call that -assign drive letter right there to just assign it something.
Temporarily assign.
Yeah. Just temporary that we remove through all the return paths, kind of like as a final.
But by the way, Windows has many types of symbolic links. There's hard links, there's soft links. I wonder if the type of link matters here. I don't know what Go is using in this case. These are probably hard links because they have to persist.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Definitely not soft links.
Yeah, definitely not soft links. Those are user session. I don't even know why I asked that. So it might be worthwhile, like, let's see if we can fix the library or file a bug to the library. So maybe the library gets fixed over time. But in the meantime, we could,
temporary drive letters.
Temporary drive letter and remove it. So if it only gets happen only during creation or when the mount gets assigned to a container, then that's not very often.
Yeah, it's only if you use subpass. Yeah, here it will trigger. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. So going back to our notes, Nilesh, are you on? I don't see him on the participants list either. Maybe we'll move it to next week if he joins us. No, it's super early in the morning. This is a problem. Like, we don't have 2 meetings like other teams have. So I don't know if that's. I guess that's hurting us a little bit in some cases. But I don't know if anybody wants to opt. Maybe we'll have a special meeting just for Nilesh, where me and Mark talk with him.
I was going to suggest that maybe let's go to the email, because this is the kind of topic that probably uses some thinking and response time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll if he pings me back, I'll tell him to either start it. Well, he started it on email. So if you go to groups.google.com, so he actually started it here.
Okay.
So
I guess we should just invite people to add their thoughts there.
Yeah. Where is it? Yeah, this is a problem I can't see. See Windows there. He started here. So this is a discussion. So folks, if you want, I know Deep, you replied, but if others want to chime in, let's talk about this here. Cool. All right, everybody.
Overall,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So the pod security policy, like I thought it's kind of going to be deprecated.
I saw that as well.
Yeah, so what I was going to bring up in the email discussion is that I think those questions are orthogonal to the implementation, because there's also the kind of emerging implementation of PSP using Gatekeeper and OPA Rego. So I think we should look at how that works in the Windows context.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're also interested in this topic. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put a reference in the email thread to the Rego for the PSPs.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, have a great day, great week. We'll see you all in about a week. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.